over the last 6 months to help assemble the team that is now growing in so many ways as we put together a statewide campaign. Each one of you is an important part of that campaign. Each one has different gifts and talents. One of the folks that we have as a part of our campaign, someone who's had an opportunity to influence an awful lot of folks and who God has gifted with the ability to speak, is Steve Deace. He's a good friend. He's endorsed the senator, and I invited him to come and just say a few words to you and encourage you as we get started with our event today.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend any time talking about the senator's worldview and principles, because if those were in doubt, none of us would be here this morning, correct?
Correct.
So I want to talk to you strictly about politics for a second. The last couple of cycles, conservatives in this state have managed, against the wishes of the deep baritone voices, as Ted likes to describe them, against the wishes of the Washington cartel, we have managed as conservatives to push principled conservatives out of this state that everyone said had no chance to win. And then once we did that, however, those candidates now had the entire rest of the country they had to convince. And they didn't have the resources to do that. They didn't have the organization to do that. In many cases, they were literally building the organization as the campaign was happening to compete in states on a week-by-week basis. And both of those candidates, to show that we outnumber the establishment, both of those candidates finished as close runners-up for the nomination despite that. I mean, Rick Santorum was literally trying to build his Ohio primary team the week of the Ohio primary. And he lost that by 2 or 3 points. Now imagine if Rick Santorum had 6 months to plan for that primary. Imagine if Mike Huckabee had 8 years ago and had a year of fundraising and organization to run a national campaign. Maybe we would not have been sentenced, because you're not awarded nominees like McCain and Romney, you were sentenced to them. Maybe we would not have been sentenced to those nominations, where when our friends in the middle ask us, who are you voting for in November, and we shuffle our feet.
McCain. I vote for McCain.
Anybody remember that feeling, right?
Yeah.
You're not posting, you're hesitant to extol the virtues of Mitt Romney on your Facebook wall the night before the election, right? Well, I don't know about the rest of you. I am tired of making those compromises. I'm tired of falling for the banana in the tailpipe, and I'm tired of losing.
Yeah. Right.
So Trevor just asked me a minute ago, what's the number one reason why I came out early for Ted Cruz? Here's the number one reason. All the things about his principles, I know the man on a personal level, they're all true. But there are other principled candidates in this race too that you would be proud to support in other years. Here is the number one reason. Once and for all, the false choice between electability and being in favor of our principles and standing with courage of conviction for those principles, we have to crush that false choice and show the system that we are losing because we are not standing on our principles.
Right.
And I think that Ted has done that. And I've watched the organization they have put together nationally. I've seen the revenue they've been able to raise. And he takes running for office on a professional level, meaning that stuff doesn't just happen for you because you're principled. He's willing to make the calls. He's willing to shake the hands. And I've watched the organization, the people that are close to him in Washington, D.C., I think they might be more radical than he is. And I think that is a key. Because bad company corrupts good character. We have seen this a million times with conservatives we have sent to Washington, and they surround themselves with the GOP hackery, and we know the zany hijinks that ensue from there. So I think once and for all, my encouragement to you is this is the message I think we should sell activists in Iowa. We don't have to do campaign comparisons, candidate comparisons, because that's when things get personal. Because let's be real here for just a second. Even if the new shiny objects in the race are able to bring 10 or 15,000 new voters to Iowa in February, you're still looking at 85 to 90% of the people that are going to vote on February 1 are the same people that always vote in Iowa. That means they're the same friends of yours, the same activists that you do activism with, that you side with in your state legislative elections or gubernatorial primaries, your family members, your friends. And maybe they're not with us now, but eventually we're going to want them with us.
That's right.
And I think the key is now is to stay above the fray. When they make it personal on their Facebook walls, do not take the bait. When they're upset that Ted is doing better than their candidate, and that's really their candidate's fault, that he didn't raise the money and build the organization, don't take the bait. Stay above the fray, because we don't have to make any compromises. We don't have to drag anybody else down, because you've got the best candidate in the race. Focus on saying that.